Okay, let's go ahead and get started with the webinar today. Our webinar is entitled, Why TWAIN Direct Matters and Why It Should Matter to You. I was going to pose this as a question, but this is actually a strong statement because TWAIN Direct does matter and it should matter to you. This is not a question, this is a statement. First of all, a few housekeeping items. All lines have been muted for today's webinar presentation. If you do have questions or comments during the presentation, please chat them to the moderator, and we will take as many questions as we can at the end of this event. So first of all, a little bit about myself, my company, and our interest in TWAIN Direct. My name is Kevin Neal with P3ID Technologies. We are a systems integration and an ISV company. Myself, I have 25 years of experience in document imaging at leading hardware scanner manufacturer and as well as a leading software company in the capture business. So I've seen both sides of the equation, the hardware manufacturing point of view and then the software capture point of view. So I've seen really elegant integrations and I've seen ones that can definitely be improved. Our company, P3ID, is very focused on this market of direct network attach and hosted services. This could be private cloud or public cloud services, but the whole point is we're really trying to reinvigorate the industry through ease of use and cybersecurity technologies as a wrapper with a lot of these existing technologies or even new ones, but our security portfolio and then again offering simple ease of use is something we are very passionate about at P3ID. So that said, we are an enthusiastic company about supporting the new TWAIN Direct standard. TWAIN Direct is developed by the nonprofit group TWAIN Working Group. It's been years of development and they just officially released it at the end of last year. And it's now available for ISVs and savvy end user customers with software development capabilities to integrate this technology. So it's over the past couple of months, it's been getting a lot of good attention. So that's wonderful. It's an open source scanner driver API, and I'll talk about it in a few minutes, so I won't go into detail here. It offers incredible opportunities to integrate with mobile devices and cloud services like never before. And I'll talk about that in a few minutes. So first of all, the agenda that was promised today is a couple things. TWAIN Direct versus legacy document scanner deployment. So I want to definitely highlight this because this is a significant difference. And this is the significant difference. The way that you can integrate a software application directly to a scanning device is radically different. It's much improved. So we want to talk about the differences. We'll also talk about some use cases because I think that's really important to understand where this technology has been or can be in the future, because you really have to imagine new kinds of ways. There's not really a well-defined blueprint, or people just aren't doing it at scale, although they can if they knew the different use cases. And then let's talk about the business benefits. There's a lot of great technology information about TWAIN Direct that the TWAIN Working Group has developed. And but I really want to talk about the business benefits today and the value of TWAIN Direct from a business perspective. The TWAIN Working Group can give you a lot of technical detail about their stuff. And then I want to highlight how P3ID sees the future of document scanning with TWAIN Direct and how critically important it is to us as a company, but also should matter to you as a software development company or an end user looking to deploy scanners or capture. It's really can be a critically and strategic important part. A few marketing items that TWAIN Working Group has developed for TWAIN Direct, you can see highlighted on the bottom portion of this slide. They have two great videos, one entitled What is TWAIN Direct Video? And then the second one is ISVs, what are your benefits with TWAIN Direct Adoption? So these are nice explainer videos at a high level, describes TWAIN Direct and then what TWAIN Direct for an ISV might be. So I encourage you to go to their website. At the end of this presentation, I'll provide a bunch of links that you can go to so they're consolidated for your convenience. So definitely go check out those videos. They also have a nice brochure on ready to cut the cord on your scanner. It basically talks about all the benefits of TWAIN Direct technology and how you can use this technology in your organization. So really great resources that the TWAIN Working Group has developed. So I encourage you to go do that. So those will be our 4 agenda items for the webinar today. First of all, as a level set, let's talk about what TWAIN Direct is and is not. So first of all, TWAIN Direct is an API and emerging standards specification for application to device connectivity. So really, that's what it is. So as I mentioned, the TWAIN Working Group has been developing this for a long time, and they probably released it at the end of last year, and now it's publicly available for people to develop software applications. So just like TWAIN Classic is used by tens of millions of scanning devices today, it's our prediction, at least, that TWAIN Direct will be a standard a year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years in the future. So it's definitely a time to get on board. But please know, it is an API, and it is a well-documented API that you can host as your own web service, or quite a few companies are now considering hosting it as their own web service. So what it is not, it's not an out-of-box solution. It's still an API. It takes somebody with software programming skills. So it's not a solution that you can just go buy off a marketplace or go get from your local computer store. So TWAIN Direct is still not a complete out-of-the-box solution. It's a RESTful API, as I mentioned, and savvy customers can host this on their own, or you can use some of the emerging web services where people have taken TWAIN Direct and offered it as a web service. So it could be on your network. It could be a publicly hosted network. It really doesn't matter, and I don't think there's any limitations to hosting this wherever you choose. It's also not a total OCR capture solution. Oftentimes people think that scanners, automatically come with OCR and capture to create searchable PDFs, for example, but this is not the case with TWAIN Direct. In the specification itself, there's no capture to it. So if you want to add this capability, you certainly can, but just know that that's not part of the specification. So, and then last but not least, just kind of building upon that, it's not a total workflow solution. This is TWAIN Direct, a great on-ramp to feed business process, but all these down workflow and downstream processes, those will be additive to TWAIN Direct. So just a little clarity on what it is and what it is not, just to proper level set. So the first thing, in the world of document scanning, distributed scanning certainly works. This is the undeniable trend to go from centralized scanning to distributed scanning at the point of creation. So these small scanners, generally in the $1,000 range, oftentimes even less, they're the size of a bread box. They can hold 50 sheets and scan pretty fast. But they're USB attached scanners. So you take the scanner, you attach via the USB cable to a computer. Then on that computer, you would load a driver, typically the TWAIN driver, the ISVs driver, or the VRS driver. You would then install the capture application that uses the driver to communicate to the device. So you're installing at least 2 bits of software. And then last but not least, you would actually install the business application. So you have an application like a Salesforce.com. You have the application that then has a capture component, then has the driver communicating to the device. So you can see this certainly works. This is the undeniable trend. This is where the growth is. Distributed scanning works. But what if we can do it a different way and a better way? And this is where TWAIN Direct shines and is going to shine, is network attached scanners. So a lot of the scanners are natively coming with RJ45 Ethernet, Wi-Fi, and/or most likely 5G connections in the future. So if you're planning for the future and you want to be prepared for this, then these scanners and all the future generation scanners will probably have network attached. They'll have USB as an option, but primarily the direct network attached. So what TWAIN Direct does is leverage these network connections. And you see TWAIN Cloud depicted there. So it's an architecture where your application can directly connect to the hardware device and drive the scanning experience from the device, or the scanner connects to a cloud, a TWAIN cloud, and then the application communicates to the cloud. It sends commands to the cloud, and then the cloud actually would then in turn send the commands to the scanner itself. So this is a way that you can offer PC-less scanning. You can offer a web service in an elegant way where you can make application development much, much easier using TWAIN Direct. TWAIN Direct, developed by the TWAIN Working Group, is an open source software, so it's freely available. I would definitely say if you're going to do a project, I would suggest joining TWAIN Working Group as a member. It's very affordable. But there's a lot of things that you can get from membership that you just can't get from the source code. Another benefit of TWAIN Direct is the non-proprietary nature. You develop once to the TWAIN Direct standard, and you'll be able to support future devices that support TWAIN Direct. So if you're thinking about interoperability with different devices, this is a non-proprietary API that will be supported, our prediction, by many, many millions of devices in the near future. And then 5-minute deployments and 10-minute workflows. This is a P3 ID dream and vision, but I've seen it where once you get one scanner connected to a centralized source like TWAIN Cloud, then it's super easy to deploy future scanners in these 5-minute deployments. Literally just plug it in like you would your Alexa device, and it auto configures, knows your network. That's really the dream. And then you do some simple configuration for your workflow, and literally you can have scanners deployed and up and running in 10-15 minutes. So that's really the dream of TWAIN Direct. So let's talk about 3 use case scenarios for distributed scanning workflows. And I just picked 3 that were near and dear to my heart: state and local government, retail outlets, and franchise stores. So state and local government for client services. So these are generally counties, state agencies, remote offices within a state. So you would go in as a consumer of government services, you want to apply for an unemployment services, for example. So you go into your county office and they have a scanner, maybe connected via TWAIN Direct. And as they offer the services to you, they give you paper forms, and you fill out a paper form, and then you scan the document, then it sends it back to centralized headquarters, and immediately some person is reviewing your application in seconds or minutes instead of waiting to process that document. So especially at times when services are really critical and need to get approved, it's very important for state agencies to have this kind of technology where they can offer the services and get approval started immediately. And the consumers, who we are taxpayers for these kind of services, we should know the status of our application in real time. So by the time you leave that office for these services, you should know where you stand. Retail outlets is another great application. If you're going in for a new car loan, for example, you can go into your local retail outlet that might have, hundreds or thousands of car dealerships around the nation. You go in and you apply for a new car loan, and they acquire lots of documents in these things called deal jackets. And they acquire your paycheck stub, your ID, some application forms. So as they're acquiring these documents, they can start processing the car loans in real time. So instead of batching these these deal jackets up and sending them to a central location for scanning, in real time, they can actually process your auto loans. And then lastly, but not least, is a use case for distributed scanning workflow, franchise stores. So in these cases, a gas station, I have a picture of a gas station here. At the end of the shift, they've acquired a bunch of cash register receipts where somebody has put their credit card in, they've signed a receipt, and they need to scan a picture of the image to reconcile the daily pay, the daily revenue. And they need the signature, an image of the signature in case there's a dispute. So traditionally, it might take hours for the gas station management to reconcile their daily receipts. Now, in just minutes, they scan those all in and they put them in the appropriate file for reconciliation, and they can make sure that if there's a dispute about the credit card receipt, then the signature is on file. So these are three great examples of distributed scanning workflows where you want to push out capture to the point of origin, and with a direct network attached scanning solution and connectivity with TWAIN Direct, it's really, really valuable. So three great examples of use cases for TWAIN Direct. So let's talk about personas and the benefits for TWAIN Direct. And there's 4 of them in here, but let me just clarify one thing first. TWAIN Direct is again an API, and it needs additional integration and services to offer this. So let's start with the IT professionals or network administrators. The first thing is, if you set up a TWAIN cloud, you can offer this concept of centralized scanner management and decrease the deployment complexity. So in other words, you just literally plug in the scanner via the RJ45, or get on the Wi-Fi network, and then again, it inherits all the settings from the TWAIN cloud service. So this is a vision of the future that's very valuable from network administrators. I think that's the core persona that appreciates network scanners and can appreciate TWAIN Direct the most, is IT professionals and network administrators. So those people that want to manage devices on their network are like a no-brainer. The next group persona is a line of business managers. Why would a line of business managers like TWAIN Direct? It's because it improves worker productivity. Because why? The USB, there's no USB conflicts and there's no PC involved. The TWAIN Direct architecture means that the scanner scans an image and gets an image to somewhere, meaning that there's no, well, my computer's not available, or, you know, my email's not working and somebody's working on my email on the PC that happens to be a scan station as well. So there's actually a lot of benefits in enhanced worker productivity. TWAIN Direct can integrate with the work process instead of capture and scanning being a standalone application, and then greater worker collaboration just from the nature of document scanning. The next persona is the knowledge workers. The ease of use drives a higher user adoption rate, so they're more likely to scan documents, to index documents, if it's easy. I know in my career, I've seen too many times where people get frustrated because the scanner, the multifunction device isn't working, so I'm just going to give up, and they're not doing work. But if it's easy, then I've actually seen people excited about scanning documents, and that's transformational if people are actually doing work proactively. Higher customer satisfaction. If the workers want to satisfy their customers, so if they can provide good services to their customers, then they feel they're doing a better job and they want to do it, and they're doing a service on behalf of their clients. So if they can get work done faster, it helps everybody. It helps the workers, helps the clients with satisfaction. Then last but not least, the executive staff. They like the TWAIN Direct architecture because of lower cost of ownership. meaning that I don't have to put out the expense of a piece. If I'm deploying 200 scanners, I don't have the expense of a PC for each scanner, and I don't have the expense of an operating system for each scanner, and I don't have the support burden of each PC with that operating system and the capture application. So TWAIN Direct offers a tangible return on investment and total cost of ownership, and that's tremendous. This is where executives should be aware of this technology and should embrace it wholeheartedly. They should. Any organization considering distributed scanning technology should absolutely say, yes, we want to start a TWAIN Direct project immediately, because every day they wait, this is lost opportunity. So that's huge. And then last but not least, even if there's not a ROI from a financial point of view, the reduced risk and liability is tremendous. Again, to my point about a PC, using PCs to install scanner drivers also introduces a lot of liability, because people download malware, viruses. This is a point of failure that's a huge, gigantic gap. So if you have a PC with a traditional driver on there, that's risk to your organization. So now you can imagine a scanner, and with TWAIN Direct embedded, it's a locked-down IoT device where it deploys all the security features on the scanner itself, meaning that there's no backdoor access to that device, and it allows executive staff this peace of mind that, yes, I have security of my network, and all these PCs with operating systems and antivirus software aren't a concern to me. So as you can see, an organization has a lot of personas that might like TWAIN Direct plus integration and services. So with that, let's switch gears a little bit to the future of scanning with TWAIN Direct. And this is really where we see great opportunity. We want to encourage partnerships and an ecosystem to be creative and develop different kinds of applications. So to us, the future of document scanning with TWAIN Direct is immense. So as you can see in this picture, I've been talking about scanners a lot, but how about interfacing a scanner with a mobile device? A lot of the scanner manufacturers today are decreasing cost of their scanner development, and meaning that they're unbundling a lot of the inbox software, but they're also decreasing costs. And especially with network scanning devices, a lot of the cost of the scanners themselves were the big touch screens. So the modern approach and a trend in the industry is that the scanner manufacturers will offer a scanner with a network attached interface, but they will expect the users or the organizations that are using these devices to bring their own device, meaning that almost everybody in the workforce today has a cell phone or a tablet of some sort. That basically is your interface today. So you can imagine that if you can drive the whole scanning experience from your mobile phone or your tablet, then it's a much better user experience, and it allows the scanner manufacturers to decrease cost while still providing this capability. So mobile, scanners, multifunction machines. So the whole point and vision of TWAIN Direct is that it's this universal scanner, driver, web service API that can connect all kinds of different devices, not just scanners, but multifunctions and mobile devices that control these multifunction and scanners. But it needs additional things, and I've highlighted at least 3 things here: identity management and authentication. So it needs the enterprise authentication capability, because obviously, you're using an application over the internet most likely to connect to those devices. So you have to log in, you have to know who you are through an identity, then you have to prove that identity, and then that identity needs to be utilized by other services that you might have in your network. So once you're authenticated through to the TWAIN Direct capability, then there's this whole host of security layers, encrypted documents, SSL certificates on the devices. So this whole layer of security that I was talking about in the introduction needs to be wrapped around the TWAIN Direct technology, which is, again, connectivity. And then the benefits are the centralized nature of the whole architecture, meaning that I have a server or a service, the TWAIN Direct cloud in the middle of this, that I can run my workflows through. I can manage users from a centralized location, meaning that I change once and through single sign-on, and all my applications, whether I revoke privileges or enable a new user, they can use all my applications. So the centralized nature of managing devices and updates, and also managing users, and also offering consistent image processing, for example. The whole centralized nature of this kind of architecture is a dream come true, because it, again, eliminates a lot of point of failures and offers a lot of efficiency. So in our world, this is definitely the trend to a centralized workforce with security and identity management and authentication. So the last two things I'd like to share with you are a lot of the resources available by the TWAIN Working Group and about TWAIN Direct specifically. So let me just walk through these real quick, and then I'll take some questions. So first of all, TWAIN Direct resources, they have a dedicated website to TWAIN Direct that branches off from their main website, which is twaindirect.org. And that's a great website. It's got a forum and all kinds of videos. So it's a great resource of information about TWAIN Direct specifically. As I mentioned, they do have this video that talks about what is TWAIN Direct. So I put a link here. I referenced it earlier. And also there's a video that they created for ISVs specifically. And I've also put the link there, so you can just click that and go visit those videos. About TWAIN Working Group in general, as I mentioned, they're a not-for-profit organization, been around a long time, and they're doing these kind of things. Right now, you know, it takes a lot of time and effort to develop TWAIN Direct, and they've done a great job on a shoestring budget, but I would definitely say that, you know, if you can join as a member, I would definitely highly encourage that. There's a link to their membership there. You get a lot of value out of it. I would definitely encourage it, especially if you're doing a project or if you just want to learn more. You get access that you couldn't get by just going to GitHub to get the software. And then last but not least, P3ID, there's a call to action here. We have a program called Technology Adoption Program, or TAP, TAP is the acronym. And we want to encourage end users and our technology partners to go there. We're very interested in getting feedback on what we've developed around TWAIN Direct. And so we encourage you to go sign up for TAP. All you do is just go to our website. You fill out a simple form, and we just ask you if you're just starting a project, then maybe you go with the TWAIN Cloud option. This is where we can develop a lot of stuff around TWAIN Cloud and TWAIN Direct, or use DoxaScan TWAIN Cloud in the drop-down in order to get an application that we've created that integrates with TWAIN Direct. And I'll just show you that real quick here. So if you go to our website here, you can see that Technology Adoption Program. Here's a little blurb about what it is. It's an exclusive program by invitation only. And here's the process of going through TAP. So basically, we need some ownership on your side of the business from a business perspective, technical perspective. There's no strict requirements because this is new technology, new innovation. And then you go down to this form. So you just fill out this form, put your name and your email. And then this is where I was talking about, put either TWAIN Direct if you just want a raw project, we're going to just start kicking the tires. Or if you have a more finalized requirement in the near term, we do have an application called DoxaScan. That's a mobile, web, and Windows desktop application that uses the TWAIN Direct technology. So just go there and pick the one you want. In this case, I say, okay, I got 150 users and my project, and then we ask you to fill in a little bit of detail. My project is to integrate with QuickBooks Online, and we have developers available. Just give us a little hint on what you're doing. Fill out the CAPTCHA, and then we'll get your information, and then we can contact you back, and we can set up a TAP where we actually work together to co-develop new technologies. So this gives you exclusive access to new and innovative technologies for end users and partners. So definitely encourage that. So last but not least, why TWAIN Direct matters and why it should matter to you. We thank you for your time. I'm going to answer a few questions that come in here. Our phone number, in case you want to get a hold of P3ID, is 408-785-2005. Again, 408-785-2005. You can email us specifically about TWAIN Direct, questions, comments, partnerships at twaindirect@p3id.com, or you can visit our website that I just showed you real quickly at p3idtech.com. So let me go ahead and answer some questions here. Okay, we got one coming in. Okay, so what scanners have TWAIN Direct? Okay, so I assume this is talking about the native integration. So just know that the TWAIN Direct technology is a big chicken and egg. So the hardware manufacturers will only support this standard if there's enough ISVs that support this technology. So the answer is going to be very vague. I'm going to tell you that there is some scanner manufacturers that are going to do hardware integrations and offer this. Then there's other ones that are looking at it. Then there's other ones that need to be convinced. So I'll just say that I would definitely encourage, there's not a list that I'm aware of. I would encourage anybody interested in this to talk to your scanner manufacturer and ask them exactly, what is your plan for TWAIN Direct? Or actually I would start with, do you have a TWAIN Direct model? Meaning that, can I integrate directly with that device? Does it offer the API web service directly from does it offer the web service directly from the scanner? If they don't have it, then say, what is your plan for TWAIN Direct? And based on their answer, you'll know that they're either on board with it or not, or need to be convinced. So I'll say it depends. There's, some manufacturers that are more enthusiastic and see the vision more than others. So my answer today might change in a week. So I would just say, check the forums, ask your scanner manufacturer, and you can get a lot of good information. Next, where can I get the TWAIN Direct software? Okay, so as I mentioned earlier, there is a GitHub repository for all the source code. There is some sample applications. So if you go GitHub and just search TWAIN Direct, search TWAIN Cloud, those are keywords I would look, TWAIN Direct, TWAIN Cloud. You can get the source code via GitHub. This said, the source code changes a lot. I should restate that. The source code can change, and new things are always being thought about, and the specifications ever evolving. That's a better way of saying it. The specifications ever evolving. So I would say that if you're going to seriously consider this, again, join TWAIN Working Group as a member or an associate member, and definitely participate in their their organization, because you can learn a lot of things that you wouldn't know just from getting the software. And there's probably a lot of questions about the software, and we should not burden the working group, with a lot of technical questions if you're not a member. If you're a member, they can probably do something to, give you priority support. But it's an open source project. Everybody has day jobs, and they have other responsibilities. So I would definitely say, join the working group. So where can you get the software? The answer is GitHub, or contact, either Aaron Dempsey or Joe Adore at the TWAIN Working Group, and they'll definitely point you in the right direction. Okay, and then I got time for one more. What is the main appeal for TWAIN Direct? Well, that's a good question. So I said a lot of stuff in this half-an-hour webinar here. So I think from my perspective, this is just my personal opinion, I think the main appeal is that TWAIN itself, the TWAIN Classic Driver, has been a standard that manufacturers have built towards and ISVs have built upon for a long, long time, tens of millions of devices. It's been tried and true. So TWAIN Direct is the next evolution of interfacing with these devices. So if that's true and TWAIN was the standard and is the standard of scanner drivers today, it's just logical to make sense that in the future, it will be the standard of an API and a web service. I don't see any other manufacturer stepping up and offering a scanner driver. I just don't see it happening. So this is an opportunity to establish standards and reinvigorate the whole document scanning industry. So that's a long-winded answer of saying that standards matter. And we don't want to do one-off developments anymore. And I want to develop once and deliver to many devices. So I'm not interested in getting a lot of proprietary API web services and developing one by one and having to support and maintain that code base. So if I could develop once and support potentially hundreds, thousands, and millions and tens of millions of devices in the future, then TWAIN Direct matters. And that's why it should matter to you, to my point. So I think building once and supporting many different devices is the main appeal for TWAIN Direct. There's a lot of work to do, but as it becomes more embraced by the hardware manufacturers, as the ISV community sees that they can integrate document scanning and capture into line of business applications, there will be an inflection point where we will cross the chasm and people will see, oh my gosh, this should have been this way a long time ago. And now it's easy, simple, affordable, and can be done. And that will drive a whole new wave of document scanning, document capture for transactional processes, for ad hoc processes instead of batch capture. So that's our prediction at P3ID, and that's the main appeal point of where we see TWAIN Direct. So yeah, we think there's a lot of opportunity here. So I said a lot in our webinar today. Again, you can see our contact information via this webinar. At this point, I'm going to wrap it up and respect everybody's time. So from P3ID, we really want to thank everybody for your time and your attention today on why TWAIN Direct matters and why it should matter to you. I hope we've given you a convincing case. If you do have any questions, comments, or other details you'd like to know, please contact us, and we appreciate it. Thank you very much, and have a great day.